Disgracefully, a weekly oddcast of seriously funny and sometimes raunchy monologues. I'm Carolyn Meyer, and I've got a story for you. This is episode number 24, Bidets, Bikinis, and the Mystery of Life. How will I know? I asked my best friend, Mary Beth. You'll know, she says, don't worry. The question I have just asked her is, how will I know when I have an orgasm? I'm 21 when this mind-blowing conversation takes place. And I asked her that question because she has just told me that she is not a virgin. I stare at her. I had no idea. It's the summer after our junior year in college, and we are in a hotel room in Italy. We have persuaded our parents to let us go to Europe. Spending a summer abroad is what a lot of college girls did in that long ago world of the 1950s. Other girls go on student tours. Mary Beth and I don't want to go on a tour. We tell our parents that we want to study French, a 6 weeks cours de vacances, vacation course, in Switzerland. We propose to travel around on our own during the rest of the summer. Our parents agree to the summer school, but they're not about to let us traipse around foreign countries by ourselves. My mother consults with American Express in Philadelphia. An individual tour is set up for us, bracketing the 6 weeks French course in the middle. Everything is arranged. Now, travel was much more luxurious then, not the uncomfortable plane seats in the crowded airports and the endless security lines that we deal with today. We sail on the SS Independence from New York to Naples. We share a cabin in tourist class with 2 girls from Vassar who look down their noses at us and sneak up to cabin class every night. We try that once and get caught, and we don't have the nerve to try it again. We don't wear jeans, we wear dresses. The dresses are advertised as wash and wear and drip dry. And we also carry travel irons because dresses always come out wrinkled. I pack a 3-month supply of sanitary napkins, assuming that such things might not be available in backward countries like Italy and France. They fill up half a suitcase. I plan to fill my suitcases with souvenirs as space becomes available. Our ship docks in Naples. We're met at customs by a uniformed representative of American Express in a chauffeur's cap. He escorts us to our hotel and gives us each a book of coupons for tours of the city, admissions to museums, restaurant meals, everything covered, after an overnight trip to the Isle of Capri and a visit to the Blue Grotto. The American Express guy puts us on the train to Rome. It is in the hotel in Rome that Mary Beth reveals to me her loss of her virginity, and I am flabbergasted. And I am full of questions. The most compelling one is, how will I know when I have an orgasm? And she assures me that I will know. Now, I have a sort of boyfriend, Jerry. He dropped out of college after his first semester. I was a year ahead of him. And he joined the Navy, shipped to the South Pacific, where he serves on an aircraft carrier. Having an absent boyfriend got me through the rest of my sophomore year and my junior year, too. Now, other girls might be having dates on weekends, but I have a boy who cares about me, though he's thousands of miles away. Mary Beth has been dating a boy. Actually, he's a man. He's a veteran, several years older, and studying for his master's degree. She's been sleeping with him. My best friend has been having sex. But someone I know well? I do know, theoretically at least, that people have orgasms, men especially. I mean, that's what might make you pregnant if you're not using a condom. But I have no idea about women and orgasms. Jerry and I necked a lot before he sailed away, but I've never touched him, you know, and he's never touched me. I mean, not that way, over my sweater, never under my sweater, and certainly never below my waist. My knowledge of human sexuality and arousal and release, especially my own, is abysmal. So it's in Rome, the eternal city, where Mary Beth assures me that I will know. And Rome is also where Mary Beth and I discover Italian boys on motor scooters. It doesn't take us long to decide to ditch the organized American Express tours filled with elderly travelers. God knows how much our parents have paid for all of this. And we take off on the backs of Vespas with whichever local guys offer to show us the sights. We stay in the hotels that have been booked and paid for and take the trains to the next city, city to city, always under the bored eye of a different American Express escort. But otherwise, there are always the boys on Vespas. Mary Beth and I have two rules. We go everywhere together, and I always get the taller boy. I'm not an adventurous eater, but I discover that I like Italian food. I do order milk to drink with the pasta puttanesca, and the waiters laugh at me, and then I try wine, and I find that I like that too. I learned to eat continental style, fork in the left hand, knife in the right, no switching back and forth like we do at home. Also, very early in the trip, we discover a strange plumbing fixture that we don't recognize. We're peering into the bathroom of our hotel room. Bathtub, sink, toilet, and something that resembles a toilet, but isn't. What is this thing? We can't figure out what it's for. We decide to wash our clothes in it. Now, it happens that those two Vassar girls from the ship are staying in the same hotel. I take it upon myself to ask the Vassarites about that strange thing next to the toilet. It's a bidet, they tell me, snorting with laughter at my ignorance, our naivete, and they explain how it's supposed to be used. I wonder if they're putting me on. I mean, are they making this stuff up? Nevertheless, Mary Beth and I continue to do our laundry in the bidet, and we never try it out for anything else. We travel on. Firenze, Venezia, Milano, Lugano. Mary Beth and I eventually end up in Geneva, Genève in French, enrolled in the Cours de Vacances. And after class, we lounge on the beach at Lake Geneva. The water is literally glacial, much too cold for swimming. It is here, while ostensibly practicing our subjunctive conjugations, that we witness a sight nearly as strange as the bidets. Bikini bathing suits that barely cover bosoms or behinds. I've heard of bikinis, but never until now have I seen anyone wearing one. There are no bikinis in Lewistown, Pennsylvania. It's on this beach by the lake, with women strolling around half naked like it's the most normal thing in the world, that we meet a couple of Hungarian boys, Attila and Alexander, called Toby. Mary Beth pairs off with Attila, the shorter one, as per our agreement. I know nothing about politics or current events, or what's happening in Hungary that has caused Toby and Attila to wind up in Switzerland. And I have no idea why this handsome, dark-haired young man is attracted to me, but I instantly forget all about Jerry far away in the South Pacific and attach myself to Toby. The Cours de Vacances comes to an end. We haven't been to class for at least a week, maybe longer. Mary Beth and I are scheduled to leave for Paris, but I am smitten by the Hungarian. Go on to Paris without me, I tell Mary Beth. I'll catch up with you later. And off she goes. I stay behind with Toby for a few more days until I, too, leave, a sobbing, weeping mess, but with my virtue miraculously intact. I promise Toby that I'll return after I graduate. We'll always have Geneva, Toby tells me, and I don't get the reference to Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca. I arrive in Paris and meet Mary Beth for a quick look at the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, Notre Dame, Champs-Élysées. We finish the rest of our itinerary and fly slowly home in a Pan American pre-jet airplane. My parents and I go out for dinner to the country club in Lewistown, which is basically a 9-hole golf course with a diner. There is no pasta puttanesca on the menu. I order wine, or try to, but they don't serve wine there, just beer and whiskey and gin. My mother is appalled by the changes she sees in me. Wine, for God's sake! Who are you trying to impress? She abhors my new habits, my eating habits. You eat like a farmer, she says. My father, who served in Italy during World War II, isn't at all thrilled at how thrilled I am by Europeans and their sophisticated lifestyle. The people who know how to enjoy life, I tell him, too damn ready to shut down their shops and offices every afternoon, he says. Sit in cafes, smoking, drinking coffee, or wine, he grumbles. Here we are in the good old U.S. of A., that propped Europe up after the war, bailed them out, helped them rebuild, and now they're lounging around, enjoying life, taking it easy while Americans work harder than ever. And now here's his spoiled daughter telling him, this is the way we ought to live. Oh, it galls him. I'm dumb enough to tell my parents that I've made up my mind to go back as soon as I graduate from college in 1 more year, and then another couple of years to have a job and save up some money, and I'll go back and find Toby, and we'll live our lives the way life should be lived. I've already written Jerry a Dear John letter. I write to Toby, but when he answers my letters, it's to lecture me on my pathetic intellectual pursuits. I'm reading Life magazine instead of studying actual history. The Soviets crushed the Hungarian uprising. Thousands upon thousands are killed. And Toby writes, I am proud to have been born a Hungarian. I ache with longing. That fall, I meet Fred in a philosophy class. We begin studying together. Fred has a car, so we study a lot more than Kierkegaard and existentialism. And by Thanksgiving, I have something to be thankful for. I am no longer a virgin. We become engaged that spring, and I make plans for the summer wedding, but Fred backs out, and I go to New York and get a job. I lose track of Toby, although I do sometimes think about him. But life goes on, and I meet Jimmy, and I marry him, and then there's a divorce and a remarriage, children, another divorce, and somewhere in all of that, I do learn what an orgasm is. And just as Mary Beth promised, I know when I have one. You can read this and other stories on my blog at funnycarolyn.com and leave me a message. You can tell me what you think. Come back next week for episode number 25, How to Be a Writer and Survive. I'm Carolyn Meyer, and yeah, I'm aging disgracefully.